Hey guys, welcome back to Open It and Play. This is Mike, and today we're going to be looking at the Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest Marvel Legends 2-pack. It's the Skrull Queen, disguised as Spider-Woman, and the Super Skrull. Now this is the new version of the Super Skrull from the Secret Invasion storyline. The original Super Skrull, he had like the Fantastic Four's powers. But if you don't know the story behind this, the Skrulls sort of took the DNA of tons of the heroes and they did it secretly during, I think, Operation Galactic Storm, if I remember right, or the Kree-Skrull War events. But I don't know, this Super Skrull doesn't really work for me in a story type way because it's kind of some weird things. Apparently he's got Tony Stark's DNA, so that means he can morph his body into an Iron Man suit, and apparently these are functional unibeams and repulsor blasts. It's really goofy to me. But yeah, we got the Mr. Fantastic's power, like to be stretchy. We've got Black Bolt of the Inhumans power. You've got the Iron Man power, like we said. And apparently he's got Doctor Strange's power, which, Doctor Strange, his DNA doesn't have a whole lot to do with his powers of magic. So again, this doesn't really work for me. But anyway, I don't want to be too critical of it. It is kind of an aging storyline. But let's take a look at the package. You can see the characters here. And I want you to take note. It's something that maybe I'll pay attention to, but take note of Spider-Woman's chest piece here, her chest torso piece. We have some kind of false advertising because this is different than the old figure actually. She is the Super Skrull, so she doesn't necessarily have to be the same. But if you're going to advertise it this way, then that's supposed to be what you get in the package. But here's a look at the bottom of the package. And the top. I think this Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest wave was really good. I don't even know if you can call it a wave exactly, but it was sort of like an anniversary event. But a lot of good figures in this line. Even though it was the time of the plastic-free packaging, still a lot of good figures. So, but these are mediocre for me, but let's get them out of the box. I have one set of this already, but for customs pieces, some of the things are pretty good, and so that's why I chose to buy another version of this. But I also got it for, what was it, about $14 US, so it was really cheap. 2 figures for $14, that's basically 700 yen per figure. We might see why in a little bit, depending on the quality that we get. Wow! That's always handy when that happens during a review. But we'll take a look at the accessories first. So this is the Skrull Queen in disguise as Spider-Woman. And they tied up a bunch of storylines with this Skrull Secret Invasion. Is that focusing? Maybe not really. But yeah, they had some strange things with Wolverine and Spider-Woman, some kind of inconsistencies in the story. Some people will claim that, it was on purpose. Others will claim that it was kind of mistakes from different writers, and then just to clean things up, they did this huge overall storyline. But one way or another, they came up with the idea that a lot of these characters will be disguised Skrulls, like they've been hiding in place of the real heroes. But these are for Spider-Woman, if you don't know. And then this is the Skrull Queen's head. I don't remember particularly from the comics, the Skrull Queen, Skrull females have long hair like humans, but that's kind of a a part that I like came to understand recently. Like, oh, that's kind of odd. They have the same kind of sexual dimorphism, like expectations as far as fashion or sense of style. Kind of silly, but I get it. The kids are gonna understand clearly if there's any kids that are reading the comics these days. Actually, it's probably about 20 years ago when that storyline came out, so it's not really these days. This is the Super Skrulls, other alternate hands. Here is the Iron Man arm, and that was the Mr. Fantastic stretching and big old fist power. Again, we'll look at the figures themselves. So before I forget, I'll show you the inconsistency. So if you see the chest on this figure, so she actually doesn't have the part down the middle like the old version of the figure. I have the old version, so I immediately recognize this difference. But this one, you can see it's like broadly spread across the costume. The old one, this part in the middle is basically a narrow gap between her parts, and makes it look like the costume's like a different design. But the other one really looked like the artwork from the comics, and this one looks like the more made-to-be-safe style. So it's kind of an inconsistency. But mainly the problem is false advertising. Don't put the picture of the old one on the cover if this is what you're going to get in the box. But anyway, this is not much of an update on the Spider-Woman. This costume is a pretty popular costume for her, but still got the pins, same mold. As far as I know, everything is the same. I don't think anything has changed except for that like falsely advertised upper chest or upper torso part. So since we're looking at them one at a time, I'll put her off to the side. Hopefully she can stand there. Put her off to the side, and now let's look at the Super Skrull. This is kind of a big boy. Gotta zoom out a little bit. Here he is. Now, I've seen other reviews of this set long ago in the past when it first came out, when I was really getting into Marvel Legends. And a lot of people took note of this. This is kind of cheap. Instead of a separate piece of plastic with the little tuning fork Black Bolt power, they actually just painted it on, which I guess it's technically sculpted in, but yeah, I have to check the artwork for that. I don't think it's sculpted into the Skrulls costume. I think it was like popping out like real Black Bolt. So, but this guy's not too bad for the body choice for the depiction of this Super Skrull, but again, it's a newer set of figures, but it comes with old pinned parts. They're not necessarily bad parts, but they are old parts. So obviously they did some retooling here to make this fit in. But I think, oh, you know what? This might actually be a newer sculpt. I'd have to go back and check, but these little ridges I don't remember on this base body. But yeah. And then the cape just plugs into the back. It doesn't have a wash in here. It's just yellow paint, no other secondary color. But mine fits in okay, but the tab is kind of short, so it does pop out rather easily. And this is a very soft plastic, so you may find yourself kind of upset at how hard it is to keep these down. They sort of just float up. But you know, from a distance, it's hard to notice. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, let's go through the posability. So we're going to look at Spider-Woman first. This old figure, like I said before, not going to see a lot of surprises. One thing that may surprise you is there is this slight change. So this is probably why they didn't use that old torso, upper torso I talked about. The old one had no hinge for the ball joint. It was just a plain old ball joint. This one has a hinge, so that is an upgrade in that way. Say what you will about disc hinge ball joints for Marvel Legends necks, but they are better than just a straight up single ball joint that doesn't offer a lot of options. So she can look up, not at all because of this. Look up like that and look down. You can turn her head side to side because her hair is pretty soft, but it is a bit rough. Takes some getting used to. Okay, and then her arm, there's no butterfly joint, so this is going to be really straightforward. Goes all the way around up to here. Holy cow, that's far. Okay, she's got a bicep cut, double jointed. Nope, never mind. Single jointed. I'm in such a habit of saying double jointed, I spoke too soon. Single jointed, old prehistoric style elbows. The range is a little bit better than 90, but yeah, that's not great considering old things. So come on, camera. There we go. Okay, and then that does have like no pin because it's just tabbed in there. So, and then her wrists hinge and pivot like usual. Hinge and twist, whatever you want to say. Okay, and then her upper torso, her diaphragm joint will get it down that far, back that far. She's got no waist cut. This is the old design. It's the wider lower torso for the females. And then she does have the wider legs to go with that. I think that's a good choice. So sometimes they put a lot of empty space in this part, but with this figure in particular, it's not as bad as some. It still looks like a big gap, but it's not near as bad as some. So, but and then she does have a thigh cut. It goes all the way around. Of course, she can kick up that far. She can kick back just a tiny bit. And then she has the double jointed pinned knees. I'll go back that far. And then usual ankles. Go back far, go forward pretty far. And they do pivot. So, okay, that's Spider-Woman. Now, one thing I will say that I know from the old figure of this, the plastic is a lot harder plastic overall. So you may be pleased with this figure because it's a bit of softer plastic. Sometimes the softer plastic has its benefits because it will bend a little more freely and it doesn't crack as easily. In Japan, it gets so cold. It's not actually that cold, but in Tokyo area, Kanto area, then we don't have central heating for the most part. And in the winter, the rooms get really cold inside. So if the figure, the old one, fell down from the shelf, there's a good chance you might just break off a limb. But with this softer figure, it's a lot less likely to happen. Okay, I'll put her back there with the others. Okay, and let's look at the new Super Skrull. Okay, I'm going to pop this off just so we can see the posability a little bit clearer. Okay, so he has a disc hinge with a ball joint. If this thing will focus. It looks like his body's coming apart, but that's maybe just the way the paint is. Okay, and he can look up. Sorry. He can look up that far, look down this far, so that's no problem. He doesn't have much in the way of attitude, neither does she. I noticed the old figure has more attitude for her. She can actually twist her head a little bit more side to side, but that's kind of ironic. But okay, his arms will go all the way around, but you do have to watch out for this ridge. So you may need to bend that out to do that. They'll go up. Oh, I just broke him off. That's right. He's on a Build-A-Figure type torso. So, yeah, I think it's probably the same as the original Super Skrull. Sorry, the focus is bad. So that'll pop out. Don't mind it too much, but it'll get you about there. Oh my god, that is really tight or really hard to twist. Okay, his bicep cut is fine. He's got double jointed pinned elbows, and his wrists hinge and pivot, twist around, swivel. Okay, and then his diaphragm joint goes back like that. It's a really odd looking for this bump in the front, but there might be some people who look like that. Okay, and then when it goes down, now that's really unnatural, right? It'll be looking a little bit better if we do this, but it still looks pretty bad. But okay, and then he does have a twist at the waist. He can kick up to here. That's not too bad. Can kick back, not at all. Not at all. Really not at all. Man, this thing will not focus, huh? Okay, and then he does have thigh cut, double jointed pinned knees. They'll go back that far. And he does have a boot cut, which is nice. She didn't have that. I wish they would have added that to her. And then he does have the ankles hinge back that far and an ankle pivot. So I think this is a pretty decent set. I would use it only for the Spider Woman, but like I said, I'm gonna change this to use it as some custom fodder. So I'll be reworking some of the things. I'm gonna put this on for you just so you can see what it looks like. But geez, it's hard to twist these pieces. Okay, we'll put him fully loaded up in his garb. He's got his Mr. Fantastic fist there. And he's got the problem of not being in focus. And we'll give her powers too. So yeah, you can get this set really cheap now. If you don't have a Spider Woman and you're looking for one, this is probably the one to get. You may be disappointed with the false advertising like me, but I guess overall the figure is probably a slightly better figure than the past one because of the softer plastic and the accessories that you get. I don't remember what accessories came with the old one, but this one has a lot brighter yellow for this part, and it has more shades of yellow painted on. It's the same shade of yellow, it's just more layers, sorry. But the old one, my paint is really bad on the old one. So there they are. That's the Super Skrull and the Skrull Queen 2-pack. Sorry, they're off to the side. Okay, thank you guys for joining me for this little 2-pack unboxing and look. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.